slow to me is taking 15 minutes as opposed to 10.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
You're good. Check that other one there.
Mic check 1 2 3.
That one's a little higher than that one.
All right, let's talk. Check one. Test 1 2 3. Testing 1 2. You want to join us in the first segment? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Mic check 1 2 3.
I don't hear that.
Mic check 1 2 3.
Let's turn it up a little bit.
Mic check 1 2 3.
All right, check that one. Is that tangled?
Mic check 1 2 3.
That one's louder than the other one. All right, talking to those two again.
Mic check 1 2 3.
All right, now.
Mic check 1 2 3.
Good. All right, Doug, you talk.
1 2 3. Testing.
Gotcha.
It works.
And Graham.
Test
Good.
1, test
Good.
2.
All right.
Tim Gale, ladies and gentlemen. You get to squeeze in between me and
He can sit here.
No, you fine. We'll get him in over there. They can hug each other. Sing Kumbaya.
don't give away our secrets.
Thanks for the water.
Thanks for the tea.
Make your list yet?
Not yet. Have you done it? Why don't you let Tim
I'm
sit
gonna,
there
I'm
and
gonna take mine
you
with
start
me,
taking
If
orders?
you don't mind to go, I'll probably do some wings or
When
something.
you get ready, just
I'm
let me
on
know.
I'm on low carb, so I'm trying not to eat.
When you get ready to go, let me know.
I will do it.
What do you recommend today?
Chicken's always good.
Tim, come on in.
That's why it's called Louis Chicken, not Louis Catfish.
What are the flavor wings you got now?
You may want to slide out, Jacoby. I don't
Mild,
think
hot,
there's enough room.
tangy barbecue, honey barbecue, and lemon pepper.
Get you,
That's the one I'm
just
looking
get you a chair and sit right there. That'll make it better. Check your microphone for me, please.
This one or this one?
It doesn't matter.
Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing.
Keep talking.
Testing. Okay. Testing. What else can I say?
I think that's fine.
All right.
Did you get
Now,
one of
Jacoby,
these?
check yours one more time.
Mic check 1 2 3.
Good deal.
Have you got somebody doing
that?
stats tonight?
One of our guys will be keeping them. Steven.
And you still got my email address?
We'll get them to you. Yeah. Maybe text me to remind me to
Okay.
at the end.
See that?
What's the attendance going to be?
17,000.
You're on the list.
5,000 students and suite holders only.
Did you get tickets?
No. I got scholarship tickets, but they're not going to let scholarship donors in.
Yeah, I heard. Wow, what an intro. And yes, that's where we are. Louis on our first, well, I can't say Friday because it's Thursday, but we're here and ready to go. We're getting you ready for tonight's high school action, and in a few weeks we'll be getting you ready for some college action. But today it's all about the preps, and we are fired up about having the opportunity to talk about football with everything else that's going on. All right, you know what? I'm not going to introduce Doug. I'll introduce you, but I'm not going to introduce everybody else here because we need to hear your voices to let you know what a big group we have, and it's probably going to grow.
It was pretty big this morning.
It was
I think
big
we
this
picked
morning.
up where we left off this morning.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll start over here to my right.
And he doesn't even
And
have
he
a
doesn't
microphone.
even wear his microphone. He's just kind of sitting there like, what are you
I
talking
don't
about?
wear my microphone.
Yeah.
Not much.
At least you don't eat it. We're glad of that. So
Hey, I will mention we're on our video, and I'm doing this so people tonight can watch. I know some people aren't able to attend the game, that they can watch on the Tallassee Times TV YouTube channel, as well as on Spectrum, channel
Fantastic.
340. Toby Ward has worked feverishly to get that going today, and we're on cable TV as well. So Spectrum
All right.
channel 340 with audio and video.
So my plan is tonight, while I'm sitting in the press box at Crampton Bowl, to pull you up on my computer
Correct.
and see how you're doing.
That's the
So
plan.
there you go. Meanwhile, back at the ranch,
Yes.
Tim Gale, since he won't do it,
Oh,
What's
what'd you
up,
want me to
uh,
do?
apparently nothing.
I do that
What
real
is-
well.
Yes, you were doing extremely well just then. So Michael is here.
Doug Cannon and Big. Are you going by Big J still?
Big. I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
That's why I had to make sure.
Are we going with that? Because I thought we had changed over.
I like it.
I like BJ.
Big J,
I
Big J
think
it
Big
is.
J is perfect for, especially for this occasion. Well, Doug, our host, thank you for having us.
thank
We're
y'all
looking
for
forward to
coming.
the football season.
We're looking forward to it also. I'm glad y'all here.
You know, I thought you were bringing Tommy Tuberville with you today.
You know, he's in Dothan, Alabama. I talked to him yesterday.
You know, these two guys are tight, he and Tommy.
Well, and I figure we'll get him on before the election at some point, right? Because you never turn down a chance to talk to some voters.
You know, I talked to him, I guess it was yesterday, and he was saying that he didn't have any schedule open for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
He's mad at the guy booking it for him.
Yeah, he's doing other things
you
now,
know,
isn't he?
He's forgot about me right now. He calls me when he needs something.
Oh, wow. Well,
If he needs something fixed at his house, he'll call Doug.
I understand. Well,
Or if he's hungry.
What would be even better is should he win, I'm predicting he will, maybe we can get him after.
We'll get him before. 'Cause
Yeah.
we got him on the radio before.
We had him on
a few
not
weeks
too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't care anything about talking to him about politics because I don't care about politics, but I do want to talk about football, and I know he'd love to do that as well. So
So maybe one Friday I can get him down here for lunch.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we're here. We're going to be here every Friday during high school football, and hopefully for the Tallassee Tigers, that's going to take them well into the playoffs. And first of all, we got to get to the playoffs. So we
Yeah,
we
let's
got
get the
to
first
get
one
the
in first,
season.
right?
We got to get the season in, right?
Yeah, it's been nice just finally getting to this point and finally realizing we're going to get to play because I know we were concerned about that coming in.
Tim has been in and around all over the place the last several weeks, of course, and we do have copies of the magazine here if you want to come by and pick one up. We'd rather you come in and eat, and you're not going to go wrong there. But, Tim, I know everybody that I've talked to, coaches, players, administration, are excited to finally get to this point today.
Yeah, I just left Trinity, as a matter of fact. We were sitting here talking I've been talking to coaches the last couple of days, and you and I had this conversation briefly about how different this world is for them. That like, for instance, the coach was on the way to pick up Gatorade bottles because normally they just dump their powder in a bucket and everybody drink, and they can't do that.
Right.
So all the little nuances that they got to go through, and that we've had to go through, you know, it's a different world. And as I was walking away, talked to him and I talked to the athletic director, and both of them's last parting comments were, doesn't matter, at least we're getting to play.
And I think that's the attitude of everyone. I know that tonight, Michael, I don't know that it's going to affect you too much doing your broadcast of the game, but those of us who are going to Crampton Bowl, I think we have to sign everything in blood before we walk in.
There are about 27 hurdles, I think, to
Yeah,
get through.
you got to make sure your name's on the list. And I know those of you, and Michael, you can explain this better. If you're going to tonight's Tallassee game, you've already got to have a ticket, right?
You're supposed to, unless you got one of those coaches' passes or a media pass or just a freebie in because you're a participant. You have to have a ticket in hand.
So
And,
what's the capacity tonight?
well, ticket sales 2,200 total, but you know, there are going to be others in there that get in without having to pay for it, like the ones I just mentioned. So we're guessing there will be 2,500 people in the stadium tonight, unless the people don't show up with their tickets, which, you know, I hope the rain doesn't get in the way and keep some people away.
And the coaches' passes that you mentioned, those
Right.
things aren't out yet, so they have to use last year's
Yeah,
coaches'
we
passes.
just got our media passes this week.
Yeah.
So.
That's going to be fun, isn't it? Because you get a hold of somebody at the gate, and it says 2019. Oh, wait a minute, you can't. And they don't get the message. How many times have you run into
It
that?
might happen, yeah. I hope
Yeah,
not, but
it
yeah.
seems
could.
like that happens to me a lot of times wherever I go. But and Doug, I know that you're ready to take everybody, as many as you can, in. You're open. Your dining room is open. Before or after the game, this is a place to come.
You know, we're at 50% capacity. We can put about 55 people in here. But the drive-through is open, you know.
Right.
Curbside, we got it ready. Takeout's ready. You know, if you're scared to come in, let us know. We'll bring that to you.
And unlike the colleges, you can tailgate tonight, right? You can.
I think you can.
I think you can.
Yes.
You can check it out.
It's a good place to get it right
I'm
here.
assuming you can call ahead if you need, I got a big order, and let them know what you're wanting to get, or otherwise come by and pick yourself up some
You
dinner.
can go to Louis' Facebook page, Louis Tallassee. The number is 991-4367. Call it in. We'll have it ready for you.
That is, I'm sure that you'll probably be taking him up on
Yeah, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to get today. Doug's taking care of us, so I think he's taught me into the grilled chicken. You know, he said chicken's the thing. You can't go wrong there.
Well,
You
that's
get chicken
what he
wings,
said.
chicken fingers,
It's in the
grilled,
name.
fried,
Chicken salad. Yeah.
chicken salad.
Chicken salad.
And plus the vegetables are
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Exactly.
what did you eat? Chicken necks.
Chicken what?
Ledbetter.
You called yourself a what?
And
What?
is Dana Haynes gone?
Yeah, he had to go to. He wanted being everybody was up here. He went
Yeah.
to McDonald's.
So,
Oh, yeah, right. I bet he did.
Yeah, I hear that.
He's one of the great wing eaters in town. So I'm sure
And we
Dana,
had that contest
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, and so I'm not going to go there.
And
But,
of course, Dana's business sponsors the school board show, which will be tonight, which I think all our school board crew's here. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So, and we invite you to come by. We're here till 2:00, and it's a lot of folks here already. But I think we can find a place for you, right?
All right. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
it's set up to socially distance.
It is.
Got
It
the
is.
tables
Tables are
spread
spread
apart
out.
like they need to be. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, but again, we're going to be here every Friday. I know today's Thursday, but we're going to be here every Friday, prepping you for the upcoming game. Usually Tallassee, because that's what we got going on tonight. 6 o'clock for the pregame, 7 o'clock if you can't make it for the kickoff. And this may be, you may help me out here, but this is an outsider saying this, so I may be wrong. This may be the most exciting opener anyway that's been in Tallassee in I don't know how long.
As far as I can remember. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look, but as long as we've been doing, at least as long as I've been doing the games, and the station's been doing them for a lot longer than I've been around. But yeah, I can't imagine there's been any more hype over a game than this one we've got tonight. Just because it's been a 17-year drought since they played, and how big a game was back when they did play. So yes, I'm with you on that as far as openers go.
And we talked about it. I was on your show this morning and got a chance to hear some reminiscing going on, and that was kind of neat. But the irony is there hasn't been that many meetings between these two programs.
16 times. Yeah. And you would think this is one of those that's been played as long as they've been playing football, but they didn't start until 1984. So that's interesting in itself that there hasn't been the long history of games like we'll have with Wetumpka when we play them next week.
Right.
17 years since that game's been played, but Wetumpka and Tallassee have played more than any other rivalry we have on the schedule. So, but this one here, with the incidents that have happened off the field and the stoppages in play, and it is 8-8. It's even though Tallassee's a bigger school. Reeltown has been just as good as Tallassee in this series. I think all comes together.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just one of, I'm going to say 3 huge games. I counted across the state there are 25 games tonight. That's between AHSAA and AISA. That is, if we haven't had a cancellation or a postponement that we don't know about. And we have already had several. There's several games that have changed, new opponents. We've had a couple of those around here. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But we got 2 more, I think, very interesting matchups happening in the River region, both of which are in Montgomery, and both of them involve what I still call the Capital City Conference. I know Pike Road's not in the Capital City Conference, but they might as well be, because a lot of those kids know each other and they run around and do summer drills and whatever. But Pike Road and Catholic are tonight at Crampton Bowl, and then Trinity will visit Alabama Christian. Back in the day, you wouldn't think anything of that game. You're thinking, Trinity's going to wear them out. Not so this year. And I think, Tim, it's going to be I think it's going to be a very close game and a very good game.
I think all 3 games are going to be really good games. The deal with ACA is they've got everybody back. I think 8 or 9 on one side of the ball, 8 on the other side of the ball. So this will be, on paper, it's the best team that they've had in several years. Trinity obviously getting started with Granger Shook, new coach, new assistant coaches to some degree, and some new players. So that'll be interesting. Pike Road and Catholic is in the kickoff classic, and Pike Road is jumping up to 5A this year. That'll be an adjustment, and Catholic has lost most of its offense last year, so it'd be interesting, especially those two teams, to see one that was 11-1 last year, one that was 12-1 last year, to see how they come back from that and see what kind of game they put on.
Well, I made the point at some point this week. I think I said it on the show. This might be the best small school game matchup we've had in 5 or 10 years at least, if not longer, because we've never had two teams coming off of perfect regular seasons playing against each other to open the season. I can't remember that happening. Now, it's happened in maybe some of the bigger schools, but not and especially Catholic, because Catholic was, I mean, let's just call it like it was. They were homecoming fodder. I mean, they were the team that everybody wanted to play because you knew you'd get a W. That is not the case anymore. And then Pike Road's a brand new school.
Didn't exist 4 years ago as a varsity program.
So this is a very interesting. It's a unique setup. And then the Trinity ACA game, that one's unique because you've got the team that has, there's the season series is 27-6. Of which ACA's won 6. Now they've won a couple
I'm
here.
Surprised they won 6.
Well, that's what I was going to. They won 2 in a row about 3 or 4 years ago. So, but those 3 games, and then we got other great games going on tomorrow night, which we'll get into some today as well. So, in fact, we're going to make some picks. Our annual, Doug. I hate to tell you, but part of the deal is you got to pick ball games. I hope you're ready for that.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, now only high school today, but we'll do that in our last segment, which will come up in the second hour.
Wait, are you going to start doing college when they start having the bad games early?
If I'm
Bad
desperate
game.
enough,
Because that's all we got early.
I
If
mean,
we're playing.
At least we're playing.
I do know
Even
that,
the SEC is the worst weekend ever in that first week.
You got
But they-
Auburn, Kentucky.
Oh,
Hey, look, Eddie Grand's at Kentucky, offensive coordinator.
right.
I mean, he's coming after Auburn. He was here for 10 years.
Yes.
So
It'd be a good
he's got a
basketball
lot to
game.
prove.
That's right.
yeah, I'd rather see him
no.
play basketball. I think that's kind of where that is. No, to answer your question, I don't know. We gotta make sure we're gonna play college football.
We got to see
You
the
know what I
schedule.
mean?
So you're still holding out on that? Not sure.
If I was gonna put out of 10 definitely playing, 1 absolutely not, I'd probably right now I'd give it a 6, 6.5. I'm afraid
You're all over the place. You're like Kirk Herbstreit on this thing.
if I could only
And
get
that's
his money.
not a good comparison.
Well, it depends on if you're talking about his pocketbook.
See, I thought you were all in, but now you're
I'm
doubting.
all in. I want to play.
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
just don't know.
Well,
Even
I'm
after
just-
the SEC did what it did, and it looks like we got a schedule.
I don't
and-
think they'll play.
see.
See, there's
I don't
one,
think
there's
they'll
another.
play.
And you just got your season ticket information that you're not going to be able to buy in because there's only so many being
It's giving
sold,
me-
like a lot of
it's
Alabama fans and Auburn fans
It's giving me
alike.
an option. I can either donate the money I've already given to them, let the money go toward next year's tickets, or get a refund.
What are you going to do?
I'm not sure yet.
Letting it go towards next year might be. I don't know. Now, let me ask you this. Alabama raised their ticket prices like crazy. Raised them. Did Auburn do the same
They
thing?
did. I'm a scholarship donor, so I have 3 in the club level.
Okay.
They're $9,700 for 3 tickets. Last year was $8,200, so they've gone up that much.
So we need to sell a lot of wings today.
Well,
Is that what you're
not only that, but hey, my concern is if they got to give this money back to some of the people, and they got to make it up next year. So next year the tickets price is going to be 1.5 times.
Yeah.
That. So do I want to go next year? Not sure.
Well, this is the problem, and this is a school. Talking about Alabama and Auburn, these are schools that don't have the financial woes that some of the others have. Imagine what they're going to go through.
You know, if I was the AD, all the AD should go to these coaches and say, look, are y'all willing to take a salary cut this year because we don't have the money coming in, and just see how many of them are willing to do it.
Yeah.
They did that at ESPN, didn't they?
That'll let you know if they really like the school or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
if
that's
you
true.
If you go to Nick, say, Nick, we can't pay you $11 million. Can we pay you $5 million? He'd probably say yes. I'm not sure.
He's putting it all in his granddaughter's.
He don't need the money, so
Yeah.
Obviously not.
that'll let you know who really wants to be at those schools.
Yeah, and
They say-
some coaches have already taken some pay cuts, especially the ones that are in, well, quite frankly, programs that don't bring in the money.
Gus makes $7 million, so if he can't make it on 3.5, I feel sorry for him.
I felt like giving some of these guys a call and say, hey, do you mind donating about $1 million of that? We could do a lot with $1 million, couldn't we, Michael?
Oh, I could.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got so many people out of work now, so I mean, what are they going to do?
Right.
You got businesses losing money because the pandemic. So what's going to happen?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of those deals where there's no easy answers. I mean, and we're still. I mean, I do believe this. Now, let me go back to your question. Am I waffling on what I think about football? I am, only because we've got so many people fighting for football to start or fighting for it to be played. Every time I pull up Twitter, which I should tell myself not to do it, there's somebody out there saying, see, this is what's going on. This is why you shouldn't play. And I'm like, would you please give it a rest? The whole point here is we're trying to move to the point to see whether or not we can play, and yet you're out here saying we shouldn't even do that. And that's my problem with all of this.
It's a tug of war.
So I think it's like school also. Personally, I don't think they should have started when they did.
You're talking about colleges or all?
High school. High school. So, but if they didn't do it, you'd be so many people say, why didn't they start? So
There's some already because some got pushed back.
I mean, Auburn High School had 112 kids sitting home last week. So they're predicting maybe 100 this week. And if it's 100 next week, there's 300. So guess what's going to happen the third week?
Probably going straight virtual.
I agree.
So, and a lot of them have already done that. I mean, now Montgomery started that way.
That's an option. So.
Right. So, but you talk to some teachers. I'm sure you probably have. They don't like the virtual teaching. They would prefer to have their kids in class. They feel like, especially to start the year, because you don't know your kids.
You know, my daughter, she's a professor at Southern Union in Opelika, and they're doing virtual. So,
how does she like it?
She'd rather be with the students, but the uncertainty is the problem.
Sure.
She's diabetic too, so she really can't be around the kids.
Right.
They gave her an option. Look, do you want to do class or do you want to do virtual? And she said virtual.
What does she teach?
Ethics, government, political science.
Oh, wow.
So
So we got somebody to call, Michael, if we need a guest to talk about
if you need
the
some
elections.
that's right. Hey, she's a good one.
So we'll need to check that out. Anyway,
She worked for the fiscal office about 5 years ago. She wrote bills for the Senate, for the legislature.
Wow.
Worked in Montgomery, but she just got tired of the drive back and forth.
still, though, that's a pretty neat job to have.
She ran for mayor against Ron Andrews last year of Auburn. Only lost by 300 votes. 30 years old. Pretty good.
She going to make another run at it?
I don't think so. She's helping move my campaign now.
He's running too.
Oh, no, I didn't know
Not
that.
for mayor though.
Lee County Commissioner.
Okay.
I won the primary in March.
Well,
So
congratulations.
got the election in November, so we'll see what happens.
I have a sister that lives in Auburn, so I'll let her know.
Tell her to vote for me.
Yeah, I will. So, yeah, well, good for you. We need.
Did Trey give you any advice on being a county commissioner?
Not really, but the mayor of Panama City did. he said never promise your vote.
Well, that's a good one there.
And it is. He
Yeah,
said,
it really
he said when
is.
you promise your vote, somebody else is making the decision for you.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
he's right.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back and we'll kind of recap some of the things that have been happening in football over the last couple of days. It's been kind of quiet, which is good. We haven't had anything. I know we had the thing in North Carolina, but for the most part, everything seems status quo, except for a few writers out there who can't seem to keep their mouths shut. We are at Louis. We are here on a Thursday because Tallassee and Reeltown playing tonight. We will have that game for you here on WTLS, but we're going to be talking a lot of football, college and high school, over the next several weeks, assuming we can get to that season. Stay tuned. More on the way. We'll be back. River Region Sports. All right, welcome back here at Louis. I can't, again, it's Thursday. It's not Friday.
We got to get used to that, don't we?
But we'll act like it's Friday. Why not? Because we're gonna be doing this every week, and we've put in our orders, and some of us are gonna eat now. Some of us are gonna wait and eat after the show. So I'm looking forward to that. But we're talking high school football. Of course, we've got some big games tonight with the game at Crampton Bowl, Catholic and Pike Road. Also, of course, tonight you've got Tallassee taking on Reeltown. What's the name of it? The Battle of the Tallapoosa?
That's what we're calling it.
Battle of the Tallapoosa. Now, they're not going to play in the river.
No.
They're not going to be on boats.
Not
they're not going to
in
bring
it,
a
but of
barge
it.
out.
Yes.
Although, wouldn't that be neat if they did?
Wouldn't it, though?
That would be incredible. Put the field on a big barge, maybe two barges.
What did they do, game day on a battleship or something one time?
Yeah,
or
We
Nate,
played a basketball game on an aircraft.
that's
carrier.
it.
done
That's
that too.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
they've done both.
Right.
They did both. So
Yeah, but I didn't watch game day. So I
well, of
missed
course
that.
not. This is going to be a special night, and I think, and I want to re-emphasize for everybody that you're probably going to be inconvenienced if you go to a game. I don't care what game it is. You're probably going to be asked to do something you don't want to do. You're probably going to be asked to. I don't know if they're going to be frisking people, but thank you.
Boy, man, it looks
Food
good,
is
doesn't
here.
it? You keep talking. We'll just
Well,
jump
exactly.
right in.
Now I get to talk just like I'm by myself. But please be patient. Please understand and be thankful that we have an opportunity to watch a live sport, high school sport, whereas not so sure if we would have been given that opportunity a few months ago.
Right.
I mean, let's just be honest. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to look at it and say, okay, this is where we need to be. This is what we're supposed to be doing. It may not feel that way because there's so many differences in how things are going, but
And they do not know. They do not have a clue. Fans, I'm talking about how hard these people have worked behind the scenes. Athletic directors,
Right.
football coaches. I mean, I went by today and yesterday and was talking to people about how many can your stadium hold, and they're like, well, we don't have a home game this week. We got one next week or whatever, and we're still working on that.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is
think
literally something that I forget what school I talked to. Not important, but they were on their third seating chart,
Yeah.
trying to get as many people in, trying to meet all the regulations. It's a lot of obstacles to jump.
I am hoping, and I made this comment yesterday on the show, that maybe as the numbers continue to fall, and they are. In fact, I just looked again. The numbers have gone down even more. The number of cases has fallen again, and so that for me is exciting to know. Hopefully, by the time we get to November, or maybe even in October, we're not talking about how many people can go to a game, or at least we're not talking about it from how many people are limited in talking to go to a game. But you brought up a point, Tim, about where these schools, what they're having to go through, what they've been through to get where we are right now, and I'm here to tell you, we're very fortunate that I think you may feel differently. You may feel like that. No, this is what's supposed to be happening. But knowing where we've been, knowing where we may be in the next few weeks, let's be happy that we've
Absolutely, and here's the other point to make on that is that I've talked to 5, 6, 7 coaches or ADs about these seating plans,
Right.
and to a man or woman, in other words, every one of them said it'll change between week 1, week 2, between week 2 and week 3, because that's the region opener week 3.
Right.
These numbers don't think if your stadium only seats 680 this week that it might not seat more than 700 or maybe less than 600 the next week as they tweak these things, but
Right.
but they will continue to adjust them and try to open them up as much as they can.
What are we finding out about that? Are we hearing that most schools are doing some type of restrictions or no?
Most
I think
schools
that
are doing it
something.
about 50%.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much, and it's almost required, isn't it, by the HSEA and the and the state.
Well, I think they kind of left it up to the schools. You have to follow the guidelines of the state with the mask ordinance and such. When there are people within 6 feet of each other, they're encouraging you, obviously, to wear your mask. But at our stadium, it's more than 50%. We went a little bit above that. Although not based on the charts that show the stadium seating that says it will seat 5,000, but that's with a puny, 18-inch. They measured on a 25-inch scale to give some people a little room, and with that, the numbers were supposed to be around 3,300. So they sold 2,200 tickets. Therefore, it's about 66% capacity. The real tent side's about 1,000 seats. That's the old home stands. They sold 1,100 tickets.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting to watch that over there.
That's
Our side will be about 50%, Tallassee side, because there's 1,100 tickets sold to 2,200 seats available.
the key here is social distancing, making sure that you have, if you're a family, you can sit together. But if you're not, technically you're not supposed to. Now, there might be a lot of family reunions tonight. I don't know, but I don't know how far-reaching it's going to be. And here's the other question. And this to me is where, depending on where you're going to a game, I think some stadiums, some security might enforce some things, others may not.
Well, the other part of that equation, which is true for Hot O'Brien Stadium and just about every stadium, is how many people stand down by the fence or stand,
Right.
That's an open area that you can count. You can count on people standing there too. Just stay with your family members, and if they're non-family members, then social distance. And it's like you said, I think a lot of that's going to be left up to them to do.
Exactly. And so keep an eye on it. Again, if you're going to a game tonight, do your best to cooperate with how the thing is set up. It may be hard to do. And here's the problem. I'm telling you this is going to happen. Somebody is not going to be cooperating. There's going to be there's going to be a group of about
There's
8 or 9
one in every
people.
crowd.
Oh, there'll be more than one. And I'm just going to ask you, please, I'm going to implore you, don't make a scene. I feel like I'm talking to a bunch of kids here in class. But I feel the need to do this because I don't want to screw this up.
Right.
I want us to be able to enjoy high school football. I want the games to continue, not just this week, but the weeks after, and do what we can to continue this season for as long as we're allowed to do that. And so that's going to mean a little bit of uncomfortableness and doing some things that we don't normally do when we go to a football game. And it's real simple. It can't be much more simpler than that. So
I'm glad you said that, not me. I would have gotten caught up on uncomfortableness.
that may not be a word, but we're using it because you're going to look. I'm already, we've already talked about what we got to deal with at Crampton Bowl tonight, and the fact that you
Two
can't
people
on the elevator at once.
How long will it take to get there?
Now, and they came up with that simply because that's the only way to social distance in this elevator.
That elevator's the size of this table. So
Right. So
that's what you got to do.
That's why it's that way. But then also, of course, I'm the PA guy, so I've got my spot. But other media members, they're very limited as to how many they can have up there. I don't know how many's coming. Doesn't matter. The AHSAA has been very blunt, quite frankly, about what they're going to allow at these two games tonight and tomorrow night, and folks are just going to have to deal with it. So we got to take a break, and when we do, are you ready for this? We have the AP poll coming out on Monday, the football poll, and do you know what they've told them? Vote on teams whether they're going to play or not. Can you believe that? Wow. All right, we'll get into that when we come back. We're at Louis. Stay tuned. River Region Sports continues. All right. I guess I'm going to have to do this segment by myself. Everybody's feeding their face. And with good reason. We're at Louis today and every week during the high school football season. We'll be here at Louis and Tallassee. Everybody's got some sort of chicken. Michael's working on some grilled chicken fingers. Tim has got, I'm going to say, hot chicken wings with a plate of fries the size of Miami. And please don't lose your foot. Come on now. You're good? All right. Big J's got the lemon pepper. Lemon pepper and did you not get any fries?
I don't want the fries.
How can you
I'm
not
eating
eat-
his fries for
You're
him.
eating his fries. Okay.
No fries for
You're not
me.
a fry eater?
Not at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have finally met someone who does not eat French fries. I never thought it would happen in my life. What is it about French fries you don't like?
I just don't like them.
You just don't like them. Do you
There's
eat any
gotta be
kind of
something.
potato? There's got to be. You must have had a bad experience with one as a child.
I like loaded baked potatoes, but no French fries.
Do you like now they got sweet potato fries? Do you like sweet potato
I like
fries?
sweet potatoes, but not the fries.
Really?
Yes, sir.
And it doesn't matter if it's the crinkle, which is what we got here, or the potato, or the what do you call it? Potato wedges?
Yeah.
You eat potato wedges? No
No.
potato wedges. But you eat a baked potato.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to stop right there because I'm confused. Anyway, all right. Monday, the AP football poll is supposed to come out. This is according to Brett McMurphy, who I can't remember who he writes for. But he put his AP preseason ballot online. This is what he says in his message. We were told to consider teams whether they play or not. Now think about that for just a second. So naturally, he's got Ohio State number 2 in the country.
Makes no sense.
That makes 0 sense. He's got Oregon number 6, Penn State 7, Wisconsin 10. How many teams is that's not playing? About 3 or 4.
Several.
So almost half of his top 10 are full of teams that aren't playing football. Is he going to leave them in there the whole year? I mean, what is he doing here? Is he trying to say, oh, well, when they play in the winter, which they're not going to do, we'll continue this poll and we'll see how it goes? I mean, I'm totally confused. First of all, I'm confused by why the Associated Press would tell these voters to put teams that are not playing in the poll. Maybe we should go back. Is Hofstra playing football still? I think they should be in the poll.
Why not?
How about
Cumberland.
Cumberland, or is that the College of the South? What's that?
That's Swan.
That's
Swanee.
Yeah.
How about Swanee? Let's put Swanee in the poll. Why not? They're not playing anymore, but who cares?
And here's my take on that, sarcasm aside. You know, I started to say when you came up with that, I was going to say, well, let's put Michigan number 1 because it'd be their one chance to be number 1. But the other thing is, let's take out the ones that aren't going to play, and that opens the door for Troy or Louisiana Lafayette or somebody like that to get in that probably wouldn't otherwise get in. You know, I mean, let's make the most of an unusual season.
I'm going to point this
How long
out.
does that last, though? After the first game,
Well,
they just go do whatever,
Who
right?
cares? If they're not playing, don't put them in the first poll.
I don't care what the AP told me. I would pick the teams I think that are going to be in the top 25
That's
throughout
exactly.
the year.
What's the point of the poll if you're putting teams that are not going to play? My whole thing is, and by the way, I think Brett McMurphy is going to be one of the few that do this.
But you know, Ohio State is the team among all those teams that had the best chance of winning a national title,
Right.
supposedly. If he's picking them second, you're going to have them all over the board now that they're in the mix. And somebody else doesn't pick them. It's going to be interesting to see if they're going to land 24th. That's even more dumb than, think about it, than not doing it at all. You'd
Well-
almost say everybody vote them in or not.
I'm looking at his poll. Here's an example of a team that I think will probably start the season in the top 10, and that is Central Florida. Central Florida is considered to be one of the favorites to win the American. They're playing as of today, and there's no reason in the world to think that they won't be one of the top 10, top 15 teams starting the season, and yet they're pushed all the way down to number 20 in his poll. Now he's got some teams outside of he's got some teams that are playing ahead of him, but I don't know. I'm just curious as to what it is that makes somebody put these in there. And I'm not going to go on and on about this, but I don't know. This continues the craziness that is going to be this season. And once we get started, I'm assuming that he's going to take these teams out. But what kind of a message are you sending if you put them in this poll? I mean, really.
It's dumb because you are picking for this season. It's kind of my philosophy on I don't put LSU number one just because they won it last year. I'm picking for 2020.
And you're assuming that he's going to take them out.
He might not.
I was going to say, how could you assume that? He put them in to begin
They're
with.
still unblemished after week 2.
Yeah, exactly. And they will be after week 12.
We went undefeated in 2020, and we didn't even claim the championship.
Haven't lost a game.
And since he gave it to us, let's go ahead and let me run it down real quick. Clemson 1, Ohio State 2, Bama 3, Florida 4, Oklahoma, which what's going on with them? Their coach, Lincoln Riley, is acting like he doesn't want to play. Of course, he's been that way since about mid-April.
And then they want to get beat again.
I guess so. Oregon, Penn State, there's another one. LSU, Georgia 9, Wisconsin 10. If you take out the teams that are not playing, this would be his top 10. Clemson, Bama would be 2, Florida 3, Oklahoma 4, LSU 5, Georgia 6, Texas A&M would be 7, Notre Dame would be 8, Auburn would be in the top 10 at 9, and ISU, I'm assuming, is Iowa State.
Yeah.
He would have Iowa State in the top 10 if you take out all the teams that he has that he says.
There's going to be those teams. You always love these game notes every week. We're top 25,
Yes.
first time since forever.
Yes. We're going to have a lot of those.
Yeah, 2020 is going to be the asterisk season, isn't it?
Well,
In more ways than one.
whether we want it to be or not, it probably will be. He's got Texas. Well, he's got him at 16, so I guess you need to count up about 5. He's really got him about 11 or 12. He's got Oklahoma State in here. He's got Michigan, North Carolina, which, all of a sudden we're talking about them, whether or not they're going to play. I mentioned Central Florida. He's got Washington in here who's not playing, Utah who's not playing, Iowa who's not playing, and then he finishes with Tennessee and Virginia Tech. He's got to replace about 8 or 9 teams out of his poll, and maybe that's just it. He's real not happy about having to put somebody like Temple in there or Brigham Young, which
Or
probably
maybe he
would
doesn't. Maybe he doesn't know 8 or 9 other teams he can put in there. Who knows?
Good point.
I say it this way though. I say if you take them out, you get Notre Dame into the top 10 to start the season for the first time since when? I mean,
It's been a while.
That's a great thing
Probably
for
since
them.
the year that they went undefeated and lost to Alabama, and the next year they probably started in the top. I don't know
Well,
that for a fact.
you do remember the year they made it to semis and lost to Clemson as well.
Yes, but I don't think they started the top 10.
I'm not
that
sure.
year. But
they're usually a little bit higher than you expect because
Usually.
everybody loves that Notre Dame.
everybody loves Notre Dame. Anyway, I don't know. I just find that rather interesting that he would do that. And this guy's pretty well thought of. I want to ask Tim that because he was, well, for one thing, he's chewing on some wings right now. But anyway, I'm going to be curious to see what other. And the good thing about the AP poll is you can see who everybody voted for. And the first poll, as I said about the coaches poll, to me the first poll is one of the most fascinating because you're going to get all sorts of teams voted for that you're thinking, what in the world? Why? This year especially, right? I mean, who do you think is going to be one of the most obscure teams that gets a vote in this year's top 25?
Ole Miss, I guess. No, I'm kidding.
I bet they'll get a vote.
That one guy's not voting anymore, though, right?
No, he's not.
I used
What
to vote
was
him
that
number one
guy's
in media
name
days.
Media days that used to vote?
Well, I'll tell you.
You know who I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be crazy.
Lane Kiffin, man, I'm telling you.
I'm trying to figure out. Was that
I'm just
a,
thinking of the regular Homer
oh,
fan.
Okay.
You probably heard that a few times over there.
Yes, I
Well,
have.
what about the other side of the state that goes, we got the pirate?
There's some of that, too.
I did read last night
Who's more optimistic?
that I read the 24/7 Sports put out their predictions for what the final records would be for the SEC teams.
Yeah.
And I can call that up. In fact, I will. But they did not have a lot of hope for Mississippi State. I think there were two different guys that were rating them. And I want to say that they both had them 3 and 7.
If we look at it, all the teams in the conference, I haven't really talked much about this, but is it better or worse now that it's a 10-game, not all-conference schedule? And I would guess is it tougher? You're playing. Everybody says it's a tough league and all that. I mean, is it tougher than it was? Because you knew you had a couple of cupcakes that built in, but some teams were playing some good teams outside of the conference.
Yeah, but most of them are not. So
Well, think about it. It's going to be that, but you can't play as many games, so you can't win as many games. So it's going to be, well, we had a 7-win season. Well, that's better than if you play 12 games when you're playing 10, but still not going to look good.
if you're Kentucky, I can't. I didn't see their original non-conference schedule, but I can't imagine that anybody on that non-conference slate measures up to, say, Auburn, who they open with.
Yeah.
So I think everybody gets a little tougher schedule. The thing that I found that was interesting
Except Alabama, though.
on the Vegas odds, the thing that I found that was interesting was they had Alabama as the runaway choice to win the whole league and had their over and under at 7.5.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's funny because there was another one that had 8.5.
Well, I had 9.
And you had one that
Well,
had
the
9.
one I looked at was the FPI that ESPN has. I had 9 for Alabama. It's 7 for Auburn.
That's a pretty significant difference, if you ask me.
yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
go
why I was
with-
surprised when
I'm
you
gonna go
said
with-
7.5.
I'm going to
That
go with
makes-
Vegas before I go with ESPN.
So you're telling
but
me that Vegas says Alabama's over/under win total is 7.5 games, which
for the
means they'll lose
for the
2.
regular season, yeah.
That means they'll lose 2 or 3 games.
Yes.
Okay, I don't
So-
believe it.
so
I
that
don't believe it.
tells
I
you-
got to see it to believe it. I don't
So
believe
that
it.
tells you how crazy that they think this season is going to be, that they think everybody's going to be losing games.
Well, and it may be because maybe they're factoring in, and Vegas thinks about this stuff, I'm sure, the pandemic having an impact on players and who you got. I don't know.
forfeiture or,
Yeah.
or whoever,
Or
whatever.
opting out.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And
That
that's
you'll
going
do.
to
Well,
happen.
we won all 8 on the field, but we had to forfeit 2 of them.
And it is going to happen. The question is who has the depth to replace it? And if there's one team that's got the depth, well, there are 2 of them, Alabama and Clemson. And I don't know that anybody, maybe Georgia, but I don't know that anybody else. We saw it last year. Dylan Moses, top linebacker on Alabama's defense, goes down.
And one of the top out there.
One of the best out there, goes down. Alabama still struggles at linebacker and, managed to win 10 games in the regular season, but they were not the same team on defense. So if it can happen there, imagine what it's going to do to some of these other teams.
Yeah, I thought one of the brightest things, insightful things that I may have ever heard out of Gus Malzahn was that he said the first day, he says, our third-team right tackle has to be ready to play, just like,
Yeah.
just like the first and second guys. And here's the thing: we didn't have spring practice to get him ready. We didn't have the summer to get him ready. So we don't have like preseason camp, so to speak, to get him ready. We have it's time to get ready to play a game, and we have to do all of this in that many days and get everybody ready to play because we don't know where we're going. We don't know who all is going to have to play.
Right. Yeah, I the way I look at it is, well, 2 things, both kind of reiterating what you said, but the depth, and this is one of my concerns for Auburn going into the season. They don't have those 1 or 2 games. They don't have that Alcorn State. I know North Carolina would have been a tough game, but they don't have that 1 or 2 games to try to get some of those guys ready to play in the SEC.
And here's another thing: is there a measuring stick on the records and how you're going to do what you've done in a conference in recent years? Because it's one thing, like I said, to say, well, we went 8-5 this year. Well, 4 of those could have been gimme wins. What did you do in the SEC? You played 8 games and you won under 500. You're 3-5. Auburn has been around the 500 mark in the SEC. If you want to go back over Gus Malzahn's tenure there, and does that bring the job security scale back down again after, he kind of got off the hook a little bit at the end of last year, beating Alabama, and I don't know. I mean, if he's 5-5, I don't think people are going to be too happy with that.
Well, you look at I'm pointing toward Graham because I'm sure he could pull it up. But you look at the SEC schedule, and Auburn's got just a murderous slate down the back end.
Here, allow me.
For example,
We looked at it the other day, though. We thought that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't as tough as some may be saying.
There's a stretch where it's really tough.
Okay, I'm talking about the last 5 or whatever. After
Yeah,
LSU,
that's it.
LSU
Yeah.
and after that. Let's take this one for.
Here, you want to look at it?
Let's take this one for.
And try not to get any juice on my sheet.
Excuse me. Let's take
Your
this
wings.
one.
Your wings.
Let's,
I'm glad I clarified.
Let's take this one as an example. Who does Alabama play after they play Auburn?
Arkansas.
They got the easiest team basically in the league. Who's Auburn got after they play Alabama?
A&M.
And you're going to tell me that they're going to get back up after Alabama and be ready to play A&M? I
Win or lose.
I don't
Well,
see
They had to-
any way they
I don't
could
know
do
if it
it.
helped them much. Is it better to get A&M after Alabama or LSU before Alabama? That's what they had originally. You know, when they had Georgia all those years, and we don't want that game right before the the
Right.
Alabama-Auburn game, and then they got LSU in its place.
And they have, I know LSU is, then they have a week off, but still, that's a physical game. And I don't care how good or how bad LSU is.
Right.
But to me, that's the one difference. You're going to play 10 games, and I don't care if you're talking about Arkansas or Vanderbilt. It's still more physical than playing MTSU
Absolutely.
or Citadel.
Or USC.
Or USC. Ouch. But I'm pumped. Should have brought one drums with you. That's what's different. And now, granted, you can lose a player to an injury against those teams just as easily as you can against Auburn or LSU. But the game is just different. I mean, we talk about this league as being the best in college football for a reason. It's physical, it's fast, and it's deep. And so most of these teams, they're not going to, Alabama will still win, I think, 9 games. But they're going to feel it a lot more than as opposed to winning 11 games in any other season. And that's saying the other side of this is, and I've already mentioned this, you're not going to be able to play anybody. You can't rest anybody, unless you're winning 60-0, and even then, it's only going to be mid-third quarter. I mean, think about Tua playing his quarterback in this schedule versus what he's had the last couple of years.
Well, the other thing I think about from this is who walks in with the most, which I think we talked about the
You talking
depth.
about players? Or?
Yeah, we talked about the experience. We talked about the depth, but who walks in with the most? If you're Auburn and you're trying to figure out your offensive line, you can't wait till week 4 to figure it out.
And that's the problem. That you and Kentucky may not sound like anything, but they will be. I think Kentucky. All right, here's. I have no way to prove this. I think Kentucky is better than North Carolina.
Really?
I do.
Huh.
The only advantage, and I say advantage because we just don't know what it's going to be like playing at Jordan-Hare Stadium without fans. You're playing at home. You get to sleep in your own bed. Which, by the way, that's the other thing. Most of these teams will be sleeping on campus. They're not going to be going to hotels like they normally do before games. We'll take a break. Top of the hour.
Jacoby ate those so fast.
He did.
I mean, I am.
Well, he didn't have fries to chase them down with, so that was the problem.
I mean, I've
Wait
never
a
seen
minute.
anybody clean the bones like that.
Oh, you're going to hand them to Michael. Okay. We're at Louis. We got another hour. Come by and see us. Have some lunch. Get ready for tonight's openers in high school football. All right, back for hour number 2 here of what is going to be our Football Friday lunch at Louis here in Tallassee, but we're here on Thursday because tonight it is Tallassee and Reeltown to open the season. Got a couple of other games in and around the area that I know a lot of folks will be interested in get to. I would remind you once again, and I know if I sound like a broken record, I apologize, but I feel the need to do it to check whatever.
Is that a broken record?
That was obnoxious. That's what that was. But besides, you don't even know what a broken record is, do you?
Let me use your microphone.
Do you know what a broken record is?
Yeah, when somebody break a record.
You asked. You are correct.
That is correct.
Give that man another chicken
form.
wing.
Yes, please.
And fries.
We got plenty of fries. But
That
check
was priceless.
before you go, A, if some of them are not selling tickets, and B, what is going to be required of you when you go in. So just keep all that in mind. But please go to the games. Enjoy yourself tonight. Enjoy tomorrow night if you're going to games tomorrow night. And, oh, by the way, there's a game on Saturday. Jeff Davis is playing Lanier at Crampton Bowl. So if you want to check that one out Saturday at 7 o'clock. All right. I have
Hey,
been.
what is a broken record, by the way?
It was what he was doing. It's where it skips.
See,
You ever played music on vinyl?
I
Has
was
that ever
wondering-
happened in your lifetime?
That's what I was wondering.
You don't even know what vinyl is.
Now, there's a couple of interpretations of breaking records. All right, just let you know. Some in sports
Well, the way that I have
and competitive eating and that kind
yeah.
of thing.
Well, the
Well, when he says he hates to sound like a broken record,
I know what he meant.
yeah.
You know.
That's the skipping of a record.
See, you probably. My daughter bought a turntable for Christmas, so
Oh,
at least
really?
that's what she got as a gift. Yeah. So they're coming back.
Good for
Vinyl
her.
is back.
Listen, I love you. And you talk to any musical purist, and they'll tell you the sound is better from a vinyl record than it is from digital. I don't know how they come with that. Michael, you're a sound guy. You would be able to explain that better. But I still have. We have a turntable. We don't call them a record player. We call it a turntable.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're very professional. Okay, I got challenged on my comment about Kentucky being better than North Carolina. So
Who challenged you?
Well, did
Jacoby?
you not? Was that not a challenge?
It was like, oh, really?
Oh, really?
That sounded like a challenge to me.
I think it is.
But I think it's still going to be fun to kind of do this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you just the 10 Carolina games in conference. I'm not going to include that one game. I think they're playing Charlotte. And then we're going to put North Carolina up against Kentucky's schedule and vice versa.
Sounds like a
And
good bowl game.
Let's see. Yeah, it does. So let's see who has the better record. All right.
All
First of all, where are we putting Kentucky in the SEC? 5-5, 6-4.
I need to look at the schedule to see. Yeah, that's probably about as good as it's going to get for them.
Okay. We'll get to North Carolina in a minute. All right. So here's who's Kentucky. They open with Auburn. Would North Carolina beat Auburn? In fact, they were supposed to play.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we're going to do this collectively. So
I
we're
thought
taking votes.
that I've looked at North Carolina a little bit. I thought they had a shot in this game. I would pick Auburn.
But do they
to
win?
though.
All right. You picking Auburn?
Auburn.
Auburn. Okay. Unanimous. So there's a win or there's a loss for North Carolina. Ole Miss. And we'll do home and away. This would be at home for North Carolina.
I pick North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Ole Miss.
Whoa.
He's a Kiffin fan.
It sounds like it. I would take Carolina. All right, so we got them 1-1. Mississippi State at home.
Some of us have them 1-1. So
Again, this is North
Well,
Carolina playing Kentucky's
collectively.
schedule, correct?
This is North Carolina against Mississippi State in Chapel Hill.
Give me Carolina.
yeah.
North Carolina.
All right, 2-1. Tennessee. That's in Knoxville. Does Carolina win or lose?
I don't think a loss.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
All right, 2-2. Georgia at home.
Loss.
I think we all are going to agree on that one, right?
Georgia.
Now, here's one. We may split on this one. Missouri at Columbia.
I'm going to take North Carolina. I
I'll
don't have any
take North
confidence in them.
Carolina.
I don't have any confidence in Missouri.
Missouri.
I'm going to be the decider. I was almost going to pick Missouri, but no, I can't do it. Nothing against you. We'll go with Carolina.
So I thought you were trying to make a point here. You better
I
start
am.
picking against them a little
well,
bit more.
just wait.
Okay.
Vanderbilt.
They'll win that too.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Vandy's probably one of the worst teams in the country.
They probably are.
Even though there's only 76.
All right, so that's 4-2. Wait, no, they're well, I'm missing 3 games. I've got 3 games left, so that doesn't add up to 10. Maybe they're
You might have
maybe they're
missed one
4-4
You had them
or 4-3.
I only had
4
them
and
losing.
3. 4-3. I got them 4-3. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if I picked them to lose, but twice.
Alabama.
They lose.
Do I even need to bring that up? Florida and Gainesville.
They lose.
All right. And South Carolina. This decides whether they go to the bowl game.
Give me North Carolina.
Yeah.
I basically
Yeah,
was
okay.
thinking about it the whole time you were doing this, and I think I've got them doing the same thing as Kentucky would do.
You got them with the same record.
Basically, or maybe a little better
Right
than
now they're
Kentucky.
4-6 or 4-5. So this game right here is going to decide at 500.
Well, I don't know.
And that makes sense because I would think those two teams. I mean, what if they played each other?
It'd be a toss-up.
It'd be a toss-up.
I think they're about even. I think that North Carolina will have a better record because they play in the ACC.
So-
and just as we're going to prove, I guess. If you
Well,
go
that's
through
why
the-
we're picking them against the
Yeah,
SEC.
all right. So now you're going to look at Mississippi State versus North Carolina schedule, or Kentucky versus North Carolina schedule.
That's right. That's next.
Okay.
All right. So
we got them at about 500.
So we got them at 500, 5-5, right?
All right.
Okay. Now let's go to what Kentucky would do against. And I think you're going to find.
I will say this before you get into that, and I know this is based on Auburn having Kentucky now instead of North Carolina its first game. Auburn's only like a 9-point favorite in what I saw. Now, you may have seen some odds. This was a projected odd.
I've not seen
odds
those.
on that they would be. They were going to be a less of a favorite against North Carolina, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe 7?
Yeah.
Maybe a little
not
less.
much.
Yeah,
But I think
that's what I'm saying.
it was
It's-
about 7.
I think
And it
it's-
is a neutral site game.
I think they're projected to be about the same kind of team. Okay.
All right. Starting with the first game, Syracuse at home.
This is
Kentucky,
Kentucky
Syracuse.
playing if they were playing in Commonwealth. Okay, I'll take Kentucky.
We'll
we got our
with-
first mouth. We got
We'll
our
go-
first raised lip there.
We'll go with Kentucky.
All right.
Syracuse was off last year a bit. I don't think
Kentucky.
You went with Kentucky. I'm going Kentucky. All right, they're 1-0. We'll skip the game with Charlotte at Boston College.
Kentucky.
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 As
All
I
right.
would pick North Carolina to win these 2 games
2-0.
too.
Home against Virginia Tech. Now, we're going to have a debate on this one, I can go ahead and tell you.
Well, it's a tough call.
I think they're about even.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
I'll
But
take the home team just for fun.
All right.
And that's what I would take the home team. And if it was North Carolina and Virginia Tech, I bet I'd take Virginia Tech. So
Well, I'd pick North Carolina at home against Virginia Tech.
You would pick them against Virginia
I'm
Tech?
giving them a little more credit
Okay.
than you guys, I think.
Virginia Tech.
All right. I would take Kentucky, and I feel very confident about that pick.
Uh-oh.
I think physically, I think they can handle Virginia Tech. Here's one I'll be interested. At Florida State.
This is Kentucky we're talking about,
This is
right?
Kentucky.
Sheesh.
I'm going Kentucky.
I'm gonna say this is where they trip up, and this is part of the old. I probably should have done this with the other picks, but these teams aren't known to win week after week, and at some point they're going to trip, even if they might be a little better
Well,
on paper
yeah,
than that
right.
team. And I don't know if they're any better than Florida State. Florida State's been down, but
How would you pick North Carolina in this game?
Probably the same way. I
Yeah.
think they're very similar.
Okay.
yeah, I'm with Michael on that one. What I'm doing is I'm thinking Virginia Tech for either one of them, but for Kentucky is kind of a toss-up type of game. So you play that hard game, then you go on the road
You're
to
right.
Florida State.
You're right. I'm thinking Florida State anyway. No matter who they play ahead, I think we might see a little uptick on Florida State this year. Not a lot, but all this crap that's going on off the campus or off the field with them right now, I think it may end up making them better. All right, home against NC State.
See, that's a bigger game for North Carolina.
Well,
Yeah.
it is.
I'd take them at home. Kentucky or
Kentucky.
North Carolina.
Kentucky.
Okay.
Kentucky.
Kentucky? I'll go with Kentucky. Here's an interesting thing. I saw a point spread for North Carolina State in their first game. I forgot who they're playing. It's somebody in the league, and they're the favorite. And I'm like, what in the world is North Carolina State? I didn't know North Carolina State was supposed to be that good. All right, next one. At Virginia. By the way, we
And
got
Virginia's
a 4-1
supposed to be,
right now.
Yeah, Virginia's supposed to be a decent team. They gave Florida all they wanted last year.
Right.
I'll pick. I'm going to go and say the home team, Virginia.
All right.
I'm going to go Virginia.
Virginia.
I will too. All right, they're 4-2, and they're going to Duke.
Well, that's a team that's up and down. They'll beat you and then they'll blow it against nobody. That's Duke football for you.
That's right.
Kentucky. Be good
They're-
basketball.
are they-
Well, we got some good basketball games with these
That would
teams,
be a
though.
great
Are
basketball.
they home with Duke?
No, it's at Duke. Wallace Wade Stadium.
I think I'll still go with Kentucky.
Duke.
I'll go Kentucky. So now we got them 5-2. Wake Forest, home,
Win.
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
6-2. Notre Dame,
Loss.
Loss.
Lost.
6-3. At Miami.
Loss. That's a toss-up game, but I'm going to pick them to lose. Too far to travel for Kentucky.
I say it's a toss-up game. I'm going to pick them to win.
You're going Miami. Wait a minute. Y'all two pick Kentucky?
No, I'll pick
he
Miami.
picked
You pick
Miami.
Miami. Okay, I'm picking Miami. All right, 6-4.
Wasn't that what we did on the other one?
That's what we did
Or
on the other
basically?
one. That's what we did on
So
the other.
Kentucky could maybe one-up themselves possibly in the ACC, which that kind of surprises me a little bit. And again, there's more games they can win, I think, in that league that are toss-up games than in the SEC.
I agree.
They're going to be competitive in a lot of these
In
games.
fact, I think Kentucky's probably going to go 5-5 in the SEC.
That's probably
I
about
think
right.
their schedule is such that North Carolina would be 5-5, 4-6.
But you know what? Looking at that schedule, I think, at least for me.
Talking about
there's-
North Carolina?
Yeah, there's a couple putting Kentucky in North Carolina's position. There's a couple places for me that it was a little different feel because they had to go at Virginia, they had to go at Miami. They had, if those games were home, we'd look at them differently,
Right.
maybe. So
I didn't
that
realize
that does play a role.
Would you rather have Kentucky in your conference or North Carolina? Considering the basketball side of things,
well,
this is
I
basically
mean,
what you're getting.
a
It's just
wash
kind of
either way.
a little bit of a wash, yeah.
I mean, I don't see a whole lot of difference in the two, quite honestly. I mean, I think their football programs are about equal right now, and right now I think Kentucky's a little better at basketball, but it's still, I mean, you're still talking about a blue blood in North Carolina, so does it really matter? But I'm gonna still say what I said. I think Kentucky's a little bit better than North Carolina. I think they got a little better team. We'll never know unless they play in a bowl game. But it would be an interesting game if they played. I think it would be, like you said, it'd be a pick 'em 1 or 2 point game.
You might not know in a bowl game.
That's true.
Here we are in August talking about what might happen in December. I
This
mean,
is true.
Yeah.
All right, so which brings up this question, and I'm looking at the schedule. Will we have an undefeated team in the SEC this year?
Boy, that's a good question. Well, I know that the odds-on favorite it would be Alabama,
Yeah.
but based on where they're ranked, I think they may have the easiest road based on the substance that's there and what they have in front of them. I know that some teams may have what looks like to be easier schedules. Florida comes to mind. That's a pretty good team, but I don't think they'll go undefeated. I don't know. Alabama loses a game just about every year, and I would guess that there's probably one loss on the schedule for them, and I don't think anybody else is going undefeated. I don't think there's an LSU this year. I'll be surprised, and who would have thought that would have happened last year?
Anybody else?
Well, I mean, a lot of what he just said is, it's kind of a trick question in the sense that we didn't see LSU doing what they did last year. Maybe this year's LSU is Florida, and we just don't know it yet. But, that aside, the simple answer is to say no. Nobody goes undefeated.
Even with less games.
Even with less games, because
Big
they're
J,
tougher games.
It has happened, though.
It has. What do you think?
I think Georgia might go undefeated this year.
See, I don't like Georgia this year for some reason.
There are a lot of people.
Quarterback
saying
situations, and that's another thing about Alabama. Why I say that I don't think they're going undefeated. As much as Mac Jones, I think is capable, maybe not getting a lot of credit. It's just no Tua, and I just think you're so confident when Tua walks into a stadium when he's healthy that Alabama's in pretty good shape, that they can outscore anybody they play. You're not going to get that.
Before Tua, there was no Tua.
But Alabama never did win any game, go undefeated every season except one time.
What is the common denominator? Sorry to interrupt you, but what is
Well,
the
here's
common-
one I'll give you. If you're going to bring that up about there was no Tua before, there's one thing that Alabama did have before the last few years, and you know what it is: a better defense.
That's where
Their
I was
defense has dropped off, and last year was
I
very
didn't know they won't have a better defense this year.
well. It needs to come up a good bit.
I think to me that's the question.
Look, I'm not saying they're going 6-5 or whatever they end up playing, but I'm saying that Alabama is probably going to lose a football game, and they can't just rely on a guy to come in and bail them out at the end.
Let's play a little game.
If they're in a close
I'm not
game.
going to go down. I'm not going to go down Alabama's list of games because I don't. We're not ready to do that yet. But what is the one game not necessarily that you think they'll lose, but the one game that might be set up for them to lose. And you got, like, the second game is Texas A&M. You've got Tennessee October 24th. Obviously, you got Georgia, but the reason I look at those two games, I don't think you can put them together because you're trying to come off of what is going to be a very physical game against Georgia and go into Knoxville, where Tennessee, if there's one thing about them right now that Jeremy Pruitt has brought, they are a physical team more so than they used to be. So that's going to be. I'm not saying Alabama's going to lose to Tennessee, but you get beat up against Georgia,
if they throw
what happens?
two pick sixes against somebody, there's a good chance they'll lose. Against the Texas A&M possibly, maybe Tennessee. I wouldn't expect them to lose those games, but Auburn, they won. When's the last time Auburn won in Tuscaloosa? 2010?
Has it been that long?
I think so.
Wow.
So you expect them to win it, but again, there's possibilities of losses on that schedule with 3 or 4 different teams. Georgia is still very talented across the board.
Tim is silent.
Oh, I just have to see the schedule. You said
Well,
what's
excuse me.
you
Let
said
me hand it
what's-
to you here.
you said what's
beg your
the
pardon.
most-
Would you like something else to drink?
You don't know the
Yes,
rest
I
of the
would, as a
you know,
matter of
I
fact.
figured he would have known this schedule by now. At least the games that matter.
It again.
Yeah,
it's
I think it's set up for Tennessee to be the biggest challenge because that's the one that you look for a hard game and then you look for maybe a road trip after that, and that's the only one on the season on the schedule.
But you and I talked about this the other day on Tennessee, where we both see there's a possibility to finally start coming back around again. And a lot of this is based on the way they finished versus a weaker schedule. We mentioned
Right.
that. And the fact that they played Alabama close last year. And we talked about, I hope for Tennessee fans, it's not the Butch Jones thing all over again, but they played Alabama 19-14. Looked like they might pull one out. The next year it was 49 or something to 7. I don't remember the final score, but
it's
just
ironic.
because you played somebody close this year doesn't mean, all right, we're back, and next year it's going to be a win.
And you're right to take it back to the Butch Jones era. You're right. They played real close in Tuscaloosa, and then there's all that hype. And so the next year, Alabama was a lot more focused when they went to Knoxville.
That is where I was going with this. Tennessee has had better luck, quote unquote, in Tuscaloosa than they have in Knoxville. It seems like Alabama has played Tennessee better at Shields Watkins Field. Is it still called that?
It is.
Don't never call it that though. We always call
Well,
it.
I
call
just
it
thought
Neyland Stadium.
I thought I'd throw a little curve in there.
And by the way, he might be listening right now. Derek Ansley messaged me today and was checking out the feed for tonight,
Oh,
what it was going to
good.
be on, how he
Yeah.
can listen and watch. And I sent all that and
Well,
told
I
him
hope
we
he's
were
not taking this personal.
doing the lunch show at noon that he could listen to as well.
And one more thing before we take this break. Tennessee, I think, can be the most improved team in the league this year, but they have got to get the quarterback situation taken care of. And I saw some promise in a couple of guys, and then they got this freshman that's coming in that everybody seems to be all googly-eyed about. But we'll talk more about that. When we come back, we're going to talk a little high school football. And then in the final segment, where's Doug? We're going to have our picks, our first of the year. Do I need to start keeping up with these like we're doing on the Saturday show?
You're welcome to do
I'll
so.
think about it. Hey, we're at Louis. Come see us. Man, I can't tell you how exciting it is to be talking about games tonight. And I think everybody, can I get an amen from the crowd, from the congregation? I didn't get one from you. What?
Amen.
Okay. I thought, and I don't. He's an atheist, so I wouldn't expect him to.
Oh gosh.
I'm joking. Do atheists say amen?
Probably.
You think they do?
Yeah.
Does that signify something?
I've never thought about that.
I mean, it's a Hebrew word, right? I think it is. Anybody here studying Greek or Hebrew? All right. We got huge games tonight. We got big games tomorrow night. Let's do this. We're going to break down some of the games here in this segment, and then we're going to pick games in the next segment. All right. So let's talk first of all, and we'll stick to the big three tonight with Trinity ACA. Tim, you're going to be the expert on this.
So we're going to analyze first.
We're analyzing. We're not going to pick these games right now. I mean, you may sneak in there, I think this team's going to win.
Yeah.
The one thing that stands out to me with ACA, and I went back and looked at their schedule last year, they were much better in the second half of the year than they were in the first half. A lot of those guys are back. Does that equate to a much better season, or did they just get on a roll?
They think so. So I guess we'll see. But what happened was they had to break in a lot of the young guys, a lot of freshmen, some sophomores, and find the right guys in the right position, find the right running back, find the right defensive end kind of thing as they sorted through.
Right.
Those guys are all back now. So they think that the way they ended the season is the way they're going to play out this entire season. Now, I will say this, for those of you who have your River Region Sports guide there and read the story on ACA, the only loss, the only win last year.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Keep going.
I guess
Keep
I'm
going.
out there.
Oh, boy. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay, the only win last year for Booker T. Washington was to beat ACA.
Wow, look at that.
So the question
My
becomes,
goodness.
are you going to – and then 2-3 weeks after that, they've got Hillcrest Evergreen tied in the last minute of the ball game.
Is this the Louis chicken
so the
finger?
question-
Okay, keep going.
So the question becomes, which team is going to
He
play?
is missing a couple. Tim, I'm sorry.
I'm
We've
done.
totally lost.
I mean, I can only be told, Tim, I'm sorry 4 times, and then I'm going to stop, you know. After that,
boy.
you've shown you don't care, so I'm
No,
just
I
gonna
care.
stop,
I mean,
you
it's
know.
just so funny that the timing was just. I'm very, very sorry that we interrupted that. But and not to mention that Doug brought some more food, and he placed it in front of you, because you were about to eat cold fries, and he said, "Don't eat cold fries." He went back and got you some more, which is pretty neat. All
All
right,
right, we got the Louis chicken here. Louis chicken, how are you, sir?
Louis chicken.
I'm doing fine. But anyway, I was going to call this segment Picking with a Chicken since we're up here at Louis.
Oh, it's for
That's
we
good.
got to do it.
That's it. I think you're going to have to write that down to help me remember. But yes, that's a perfect name for all of this. All right, so even though you got cut off, Tim, that was still a good rundown of that game. Let's go now to the game at Crampton Bowl, where Catholic and Pike Road will tangle again. Two teams undefeated regular season a year ago. Catholic made a little bit deeper run into the playoffs than Pike Road did, but obviously that has something to do with who you play.
Yeah.
Catholic lost more as far as personnel, right? As far as starters. But, and Aubrey Blackwell said this the other day, they've got they had good backups last year, and a lot of those guys are going to fill
Hey,
those
turn around
spots.
there, chicken. Let's get a shot of this.
Yeah, we
Y'all
got
keep going.
Now he's interrupting me,
All right.
so there you go.
Hang on, let me get close. I got to get a good shot of these two here.
That's perfect. All right.
Wonderful.
You'll have to Photoshop the ketchup off of the.
There is something on there.
All right, go ahead.
I think for Pike Road, I think they're set up. You know, they obviously lost some talent, and this is a big question for them. They lost some talent off the defense that is being replaced by some really talented, like, sophomores, some young guys. And so that's the key for them. Will their linebackers step up and play the way they're supposed to? On offense, they've got a real town transfer playing quarterback.
Tell me his name. In fact, we mentioned it this
Iverson
morning.
Hooks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Is he going to be playing quarterback?
Yes, he's the starting
Okay.
quarterback.
We
And,
learned that at Media Day, Graham.
That's right.
and so they've got a new quarterback, and in their offense, that's huge. They got most of the other players back. Lost a couple like Bryce Kelly, talented receiver. They lost a couple playmakers, but they got most everything back. For Catholic, this is the first time that he's had to just totally redesign an offense, and we will go into tonight's game watching to see who takes the first snap at quarterback, because that's been a carefully guarded secret since they don't seem to know.
Yeah, I think we mentioned in the book 2 or 3 guys that could possibly
Two
start.
guys. Dean Johnson is kind of a role player that's been there, knows the offense, knows his job. What do you call those people? Game managers.
Yes.
And then the other guy, McCreary, is a freshman that transferred from St. James. Probably would be their starting quarterback had he not left.
Why game manager has a negative connotation, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it does.
and well, I mean, in this case, it doesn't. But to me, because he's the guy that's probably in line to start, because he's the better manager,
Right.
on the team. So,
Exactly.
But yeah, that to me, and we'll get to this with the picks. But to me, that's the biggest question with Catholic, is you just wonder about that offense. That defense is going to be exceptional.
Michael, it's your turn. Reeltown, Tallassee. We've talked enough about the history. Let's talk about the matchup and what is to be. Reeltown coming off of a trip to the finals. They got beat pretty good, but they played a perennial champion in Fife in the championship game. Tallassee didn't make the playoffs again last year.
That's right. 2 years straight now after 10 straight.
10 in a row,
Yeah.
yeah. How much is that playing in this game? Or are you going to give me the old line about those are last year's teams, this is this year's team?
I won't give it to you, but, tradition or history really doesn't mean much usually when you're talking about this year, but I do believe it, is something that has to be noted, because both of these teams have played 16 times against each other. Both won the same number of games. So put the size of the program aside, and because it hasn't mattered. It's been even.
So you're giving me the
I
old
picked
favorite,
the game early
throw
this
the
week.
records out the
Well,
window.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that I think both of these teams will be pretty evenly matched. It's been that way overall, and I look at, Coach Matt Johnson did mention depth, and Tallassee has a few more players than he does, and that could be the key as you go forward in this game. Now, one thing about it, I know this is Coach Battles talking earlier this week as well about conditioning, as he prides himself on that. I know Matt Johnson does too. But he talked about, we're going to win some games late in the game early because we're in condition early, when it's hot, when it's tough, and obviously it's early season. But depth can have an impact on that as well when you can play guys, and spare guys. But, I expect it to be a close football game. I really do. I'm curious to see if Tallassee, if they win this game tonight and win it comfortably, it might be a good sign of things to come for them, that they're kind of getting over the hump a little bit, because we've been middle of the pack in the region and 50% of wins percentage, and like we said, 5-4 and 6-4 the last couple of years. Reeltown, I think, will make the playoffs again. I know they're in a tough region. I know they're the first time in 3A, but I think they're going to be fine. But they keep. Eric Shaw is gone, best player anywhere around here probably last year. He's at South Carolina now. Losing the quarterback is huge, but they've got a guy that can play a little bit. It's just going to be a different kind of look, because that was a dual threat guy they had last year, and I think that might benefit Tallassee a little bit.
And I'm real curious to see just how it goes for Reeltown. They've never been a 3A team before, if I'm not mistaken. They've been 1A or 2A
First time ever, yeah.
forever. And you saw some growing pains for Tallassee when they went up to 5A for the first time. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it is, especially when you get into region play. I think that's going to play a little bit of a role tonight in that game. All right, when we come back, it's time. We are going to pick some games. We're going to see what everybody's got. We're going to see if the chicken knows anything about football. He sure doesn't know anything about wearing a bib, I can tell you that. By the way, did you make that yourself? Okay. He says that. We'll be back. Come and see us at Louis here. We got a few minutes left. Now, see, you caught me with food. I haven't eaten anything during the entire show. And the one time that I put some food in my mouth, it's time to go back on the air. All right, here we go. We're going to pick games. Now, normally what we would do if the college football season was starting, we would pick the college games. We would have picked the high school games in the previous segment. We picked the college games in this one. But since there's no college games, we're calling this, are you ready? Picking with Louie's Chicken.
Hey.
You like that, Doug? You can. I'm going to get it trademarked. So,
Y'all pass the mic around.
We're going to need to make sure everybody gets a look at this.
Right,
we're just picking games in this area. I may throw in one. In fact, we're going to start with a game that has come out of nowhere this week, and it features two of the top programs in the state.
I'm going with Hoover.
Thank you.
Actually, I was going with Moody and Elmore County. But
That's a good
see,
one.
you can't jump the gun like that.
That's a good one.
All right, yeah. Hoover is playing Central. This game was not on the schedule, the original schedule. It wasn't even on the schedule last week. But due to the coronavirus, and this is going to be a situation probably every week, you're going to lose a game or two. So what do we have? This game is being played in Phoenix City. Tim, you've already made your pick.
I did.
So,
He
all
picked Hoover before you
right.
get out of your mouth.
You picked
Good.
Hoover, right?
I did.
Yeah, all right.
Gentlemen, I'll let y'all make your picks. We'll
All
go
right.
around this way.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll put the camera on him since we got video today.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll say Hoover also.
You got Hoover. The chicken says,
I say there, boy. I say that's going to be Hoover's going to be the winner tonight.
Somebody's got to pick Central.
Phoenix
Jacoby?
City.
Thank you.
yeah.
I'll pick Hoover.
If it's one thing I figured out about him is he's going against the grain.
I like
that's
that
pretty
from
much-
Jacoby.
I do.
I always like.
Of course, he doesn't have any money on the table, but you
And
know,
Tim
like-
picked
Tim
Hoover.
picked Hoover. I'm going with Central.
Thank you.
I think. I don't know. I just feel like that Hoover has. I don't want to say they've been down. That's not fair.
Good.
But
God.
they're not as good, I think, today or in the last couple of years as they were 3 or 4 years before that. And I think Thompson's got something to do with it. I'll just leave it at that. All right, let's move on, and we'll be a little closer to home here. How about the game tomorrow night at Crampton Bowl, Prattville and Wetumpka?
Prattville.
With the mic, here we go.
Prattville.
I went with Prattville.
I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm also going with Prattville. Once again, I'm eating chicken. Y'all were supposed to take a little longer.
Yeah,
so
well,
I
you
can
asked
chew
for
my
the pick.
food.
They gave you the pick.
Draw it out a little bit, all right? All right, let's go down to Robert E. Lee is a 6A school this year, believe it or not. They got to go to Daphne tomorrow night.
I believe I went with Daphne.
Going with Daphne.
I say there, boy. I'm going to go with, who is it again?
Lee at Daphne.
I'm going with
Apparently chickens
Lee.
have a short memory. You're going with Lee, okay.
Going with Lee.
All right.
I'm going to pick Daphne in a close one.
Lee is, as of 2 days ago, they hadn't figured out who their quarterback's going to be. Daphne's got one of the better athletes in the state playing quarterback. I think they win this game. All right, this was a new one. Park Crossing at Auburn. Park Crossing.
I'm supposed to play Dothan or something.
Well, and the thing was, Dothan was supposed to play Hoover, so I don't know who Park Crossing was supposed to play. It's crazy. But Auburn was supposed to play somebody in Georgia. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And they end up, Georgia's moved their
season
right.
back,
So who we got?
I'm gonna go with Auburn. It is at Auburn, so I'm going.
It is at Auburn.
So I'm going with
I'm
the
going
home
with the
team.
Tigers also.
All right.
Auburn.
I'm going with Park Crossing.
Wow.
They do have a brand new coach, L.C. Cole. He's not a brand new coach. He's new to them, though. But I will pick Auburn.
I'm going to go Auburn, too. LC's only been there a couple of months, if that. He hadn't had a lot of time to get his team ready to play. Although, talent-wise,
They are
Park Crossing's
talented.
probably we did our top players in the area. They had like 4 of them. But that does not mean you're going to be the better team on the field. I'm picking Auburn to win that game. All right, here's another one. Opelika at Stanhope Elmore. This was not supposed to be this game.
And I'm bucking the trend of which I often take the home team in even games. I'm going to go with Opelika.
Where's the windscreen on your mic? We'll figure it out.
I'm going to go with Opelika also with the Bulldogs.
All right.
I'll say I'm going them Bulldogs myself.
I'll say here.
I'm going with the Mustangs.
Give me Opelika.
I'm picking Stanhope Elmore.
Hey.
I think their line is very good, and William Whitlow is probably the most underrated player in the area.
Yes.
He is very good, and I think he may be the difference in this game. Opelika does have a couple of really good running backs, and I expect them to have a good game. But I'm picking Stanhope Elmore here. All right, let's go to some of our teams here within the area. Elmore County at Moody.
Tim, you're first.
Oh, thanks. I don't know a whole lot about either one of them. I mean, the point being that Elmore County is coming off a 2-8 season where they struggled a lot, and I don't know how far up they're going to climb. So I guess I'll go with Moody.
Doug.
I'm going with a local. I'm going with Elmore County.
Good call.
I'm going with Moody.
Wow.
Moody.
Was that against Elmore County or for Moody?
Against, he said. No, I think you don't pick with your heart now, do you?
I think he just did. Maybe.
His wife is an Elmore County graduate, so he can't do that.
I think chickens pick with their livers. No.
Oh, wow. When they have some left.
It's a tough pick. I went with Moody, but it's a tough call.
I'm going Elmore County because I used to date a girl that lived in Moody, and she treated me wrong. All right, let's go with Holtville at Goshen.
And I think that game's off the board now.
I did not know that.
Goshen, I don't think, is playing. Not non-conference, non-region games. Yeah.
Is this because I visited with the Holtville coach earlier in the week. You know what? I think you're right. I think they're playing
They changed it.
Southside Selma.
Oh, okay.
I think that's who they're playing now.
Well, with that, I'll pick Hope.
With that, I'll go with Hopeful.
Okay.
I pick Hopeville also.
All right.
I say I'll go there with Hopeful there. They got some good chickens over there.
Isn't he required to wear the hat when he talks like that?
What is the voice that you? I say.
I think
is
he's
that
trying to be
Leghorn?
Foghorn Leghorn.
Okay, all right, I got you.
I'm going with Hopeville.
I go with Hopeful as well. All right, let's move on to Marbury. I think they're in for a pretty good year. They're playing at home again against another team. Now, there's talk that this game may not count in the standings. I haven't been able to verify that, but they're playing Charles Henderson.
I'm going to go with Charles Henderson and this is more on Charles Henderson's, reputation. I don't know what they've got.
Yeah.
But I think they're a little more stable, and JB's still trying to bring his team up.
All right.
Yeah, I like Charles Henderson also.
Okay.
Charles Henderson.
Charles Henderson.
I'm going to go with the Trojans as well.
I am going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Marbury. I think they may have a special year this year. All right, let's get to the big three tonight. We'll start first, Alabama Christian at home against Trinity.
And I went with Alabama Christian just because they have everybody back, and Granger Shook's still trying to figure out his team a little bit.
All right.
I like Alabama Christian.
I think Trinity here for the big Foghorn.
ACA.
And I went with Trinity. I think based more on just history. They just seem to always win this game. Hadn't lost much, so I went with the Wildcats.
I'm going with ACA. I think, like Tim said, I wonder how much Granger Shook has been able to get in. He's put a lot in this preseason, and I wonder if Trinity's ready for all of that. Plus, ACA's got all these players back. But that goes totally against the norm in this series because Trinity has just owned ACA.
Yeah.
All right, the one in Crampton Bowl tomorrow tonight, Catholic and Pike Road.
And this is going to sound like a broken record. Oh, I'm sorry. Stole your line.
Used that once
How'd I do
before
that?
already
Yeah.
today.
But I just, I think that Catholic trying to find itself with an offense might have a turnover or two. I think Catholic has the better defense. I think Pike Road has the better overall team, so I'm going with Pike Road.
I like Pike Road in this.
I'll say Pike Road.
Pike Road.
Well, it's a tough pick, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
I mean, those two teams are pretty good. I went with Pike Road as well, but a shaky nod there.
Usually when a game is this close, I'm going to go with the team that might have the best player on the field. In this case, is it Quinshawn? Is that how you say his name?
Judkins. Yeah.
I think you say his first name Quinshawn. Make a note about this young man. He's going to be one of the top recruits, not only in this area next year. He's just a junior, but he's going to be one of the top running backs in the state, maybe in the Southeast. So I think he'll be the difference in the game. Which brings us finally to the game tonight here in Tallassee. Pre-game at 6 o'clock, kickoff at 7 here on WTLS. Reeltown at Tallassee.
I don't know a lot about Reeltown except their quarterbacks at Pike Road these days. So I'm just thinking moving up to 3A and believing that Tallassee is going to be better than they were last year. I'm going to go with Tallassee.
You know, I'm here in T-Town, so I'm going with the Tigers.
Smart move.
This man's trying to sell some chicken.
Well, that's some Reeltown folks that come over, though, now.
When the chicken speaks, the team gets beats. That's Real Town in a donkey stonkman, 34-13.
Now, that was true chicken grammar right there. Go ahead. Something. I feel this one coming. I feel this one coming.
Big J.
He might beat him, though.
I'm going with Tallassee. They got good players coming back on the offensive side of the ball and defense, so I'm going with Tallassee 21-7.
20-14 Tallassee.
I'm picking Tallassee as well. I do think that there's something about Reeltown coming up from 2A and now a 3A school. I know that obviously they've grown a little bit, but I don't see how much they've grown that much. And I do think there's significance between a high 2A and a low 5A. I just think there's a difference in size of schools. I think Tallassee, Coach Battles has talked about the big offensive line that he's going to have. I think that will wear on Reeltown as the game goes on. I think there will be some points scored. I think there's going to be some turnovers in the game. In fact, we might see some points scored off of turnovers tonight. But I think in the end, I like what Tallassee did last year. In some ways, I think they got something to build on. I don't talk to your coach very often, but he seemed very confident in the times that we got a chance to talk to him. And I can remember a couple of years where he didn't feel as confident as he has this year. I think Tallassee wins. I got 28-20 if anybody else wants to give a score.
I like that. That sounds good.
Oh, great. Just
Well, the chicken picked the donkey stomping.
he did pick the donkey
Yeah.
stomp. Does a chicken and a donkey get on? Do they get along?
Absolutely, ride on its back all the time.
Do they really?
All over the farm.
Okay. I mean, I don't know much about farming, so I had to ask the question.
Or chickens.
Or chickens.
Or
for that matter.
donkeys.
Yeah.
So, by the way, are you going to wear that tonight to the game?
No, it's too hot. I had to come in here where it's air conditioning.
I won't tell you to not wear anything under it. That's not a good idea.
Well, you want to see?
No. Absolutely not. Please. Well, Doug, real quick, you're open tonight after the game. You're not open after the game.
Close at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
They're open when the game starts.
When the game starts. So
Yeah.
get in here.
You know,
Up
the
until
game
11.
with like 9 to 9:30, and it's
Okay.
it takes
And
an
part of
hour
that is
2
because
hours
of
to
the.
get out of here. So
Does that have to do with COVID? Is that part of the reason? Would you normally be closed at 8?
combination with employees and COVID.
Okay.
And like I said, a lot of my guys lives in Auburn. They have to drive an hour back.
Gotcha.
And once we close, it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours clean up.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
If we get out of here at 10 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock before they get home. in the
Oh
morning.
wow, we don't want
Then
that.
they got to be back tomorrow morning. So
Well, we'll send them here before the game.
Before the
How about
game.
that? Man, you've been a great host. We look
Thank
forward to
y'all.
coming
Thank
back
y'all for
again
coming.
next Friday. By the way, I'm going to eat all of these when we get off the air here. Chicken, good job.
Picking with a chicken.
I love it. We got the name for it. Tim, good job as always. Michael, we'll listen to you tonight starting at
Looking forward
6
to it.
o'clock
Yes,
with the kickoff at 7. And you'll have the full crew, right?
we expect them.
All right, good deal. I'll be at Crampton Bowl. I'll be reporting from there. Whatever scores you hear from Michael on the game tonight, that's where they're coming from. Have a great night. And we'll be back in the studio tomorrow. Tim and I will. We'll break down everything that happens tonight and probably talk more about tomorrow night as well. Talk to you then.